Well, here I am again on here today. There he is again on Sunday, February 12th, 2023. But I wanted to talk about us just running around the neighborhood, like sneaking out at night, riding bicycles, doing ramps, things like that. And I will in a second, but I want to talk about Buc-ee's, biggest gas station thing in America. I've never been to anything bigger. It's another one of those things that's purely American. At least it feels like it. I don't know about other countries out there having big old gas stations like that. I could be wrong. I could definitely be wrong because I could see them having stuff like that in China. I could totally see them having things like that in China. I might have to do some research on that. There's another question. Do they have Buc-ee's style gas stations in China? I simply wanted to find a good parking spot, go in, use the restroom, look around at some things, get me a soda, and get the hell on. Get the hell back on the road. But I really like that area that they put it. I know they're building a lot of there, and it kind of sucks that they are. It looks really cool how it's just all cleared out. Like a lot of the interstate in Alabama, north of Birmingham is honestly a beautiful drive. I don't mind that drive at all. The southern half, I can live without it. Honestly, everything south of Montgomery, I can live without it. The drive, that is, until I get to 225. Something about that drive on 225, man. Something about it. No, I could probably tell you exactly what it is about it. I could tell you a couple things about it that I like so much. Because that was always when I would get right back into the range of my favorite classic rock station. And I'd listen to it on my way coming home. But some of that land has been cleared out now, so it's really not the same. I kind of like the switching up and taking 59 north, though. But Buc-ee's is just a wild place. Originally a Texas thing. That's one of the things that makes me want to go to Texas. I want to see the biggest one. Because that Athens one is massive. It's the size of like a private school sportsplex. Like it's huge. Not like a public city one, but like it's big as hell. I'd say that my high school's football complex, maybe including softball and all that, is probably the size of this Buc-ee's. Buc-ee's might be a little bit smaller, but I don't know. It's just so many pumps. Cheap gas. $2.99 when I was there. I paid like $3.26 earlier. The hell. Well, I paid like $3.06 in my hometown. And then I paid like $3.26, I think, just out in a Hope Hole area at the Loves. But I enjoy stopping at the Loves. Except for these little sausage bites I got today. These things kind of suck. I think the Cattleman's is the way to go. I really think it is. After I've tried it a couple times, I'm like, yeah. There was some brand called Wisconsin something. Damn, there's the rocket ship. I'm still 65 northbound, and there's that rocket ship. I know it's going to disappear here soon, and I truly don't know if that thing has been in space or not. I like to think that it has been because it's cooler to me, but I don't care enough about doing the research on it. I just know that they have to take it down for maintenance. That's the only research I've done. I guess we can talk about being a kid. All right, I'm going to get out of this person's way because there's this little Toyota that's really... I guess they want to tailgate me. They just love being behind me. I understand. I just want to enjoy a Sunday afternoon drive. Hardly a cloud in the sky. There's a trailer on the side of the road, and graffitied onto the side of it is, in blue and black letters, the word moist. Jesus. I bet someone thought that was going to be so funny whenever they first did that. And it kind of is. But I wonder how long that's been there. It's the first time I've noticed it. Right past the rocket ship, you can find the trailer that says moist on it. The deer! Holy shit, that's cool. I just saw like 5 deer off the side of the interstate right around the Tennessee border. And I almost just witnessed a Ford Flex merge into another car. Yeah, that is so beautiful. Wow. A little family of deer, and then there's a dead animal on the side of the road. And then Tennessee welcomes you, the volunteer state. Hello, Tennessee. The sun is starting to poke out again, though. I really like that part of the Tennessee-Alabama border where, it converges. I don't know who designed all that, but it's pretty sick. So I had to put my hat on because this glare is getting me. But hello, Tennessee. Exit 1. Here we are back in my new home, man. Every time I come back, I feel a little bit better about living here. It's kind of nice. Will I always think that way? Maybe. Maybe not. I don't know. I think I'm going to have multiple homes. Well, not like that. I think I'm going to live in multiple places. I kind of already have, but I mean as a professional adult, not like a student. Because I've been on like the trial mode of life for a while now, for 22 years. This coin has been traveling 22 years. And now, you have to call it. Yeah, now I'm 23 and I mean, I'm living in my first place, like for real. First place ever. Moved directly out of the house right after school to get a job and live somewhere else. Could I see myself going back home after I live here? I don't exactly want to, but I could. Because I know my mama want to see me. My mama. I love my mama. I'm not afraid to say it. You shouldn't be either. But, I don't know. Oh, Yep. I love Tennessee, but damn, bro, these potholes are ass. Jeez. And another red car enters the interstate from the rest area. I've never pulled off at that rest area, I don't think. I know I've pulled off at the Loves up here, and there was a McDonald's. I specifically remember McDonald's and a giant round bale of hay out in the field nearby. I was like, damn, it's a nice Tennessee thing right there. Now I know about a fella who's got a farm too, and I've seen a couple pictures. I'm like, dang, dude. This is an older man. I'm talking in his 60s, bro. And like built barns. I mean, he doesn't do that professionally, but like built a barn in his 60s. That's just impressive to me. That's really quite impressive. I've never built a barn. I don't know if I'll ever build a barn. I built a desk and I was proud of that. My bed was already kind of put together. I could put my bed together pretty easily. But that desk was a lot more pieces. It was like Legos. Nah, it wasn't like Legos at all. Because I had to screw it in. I'm trying to think of other things I've built like that have taken me that long and been like a task. I wonder how long it takes to build one. It's literally like Red Dead, like that video game. I don't know if I ever do get some land like that. Now that I know that if this 60-year-old man can do that, I'm not saying that I'm great or anything by any means, but just hearing it makes me a little bit more confident about my own ability. Coming from someone who's literally never even built a barn or built really any structure other than like a desk. I don't know. It's just cool. I wish I could do that. I really haven't even gotten into what I wanted to talk about with what we did as kids, but I just passed a dead skunk on the road. Also, the more I do this, the more I realize how often I really do up words. As much as I like to think of myself as a well-spoken individual, I know I'm really not. I like to kind of think I am because I have some kind of like charismatic thing with how I talk. I don't know what it is. Some people enjoy it, I guess. But I haven't even gotten to talk about what we did as kids before we had all of our video games and all that. And ripsticks, skateboards, longboards, bicycles, rollerblades. We were on wheels, baby, all the time as kids. And it was awesome. I think that's why I like to get around so fast, because we were always on wheels. We always had a means of going faster if we wanted to. Skateboarding, I don't want to say that I was the best skateboarder, but I felt like I could do the most tricks. I used to have that rail in my backyard that I could put in the driveway. God, that was so sick. One of my neighbors gave me like a grind rail for my skateboard. That was one of the coolest things anyone had ever given me. And I really learned how to use that too. Waxed it up, made my own wax. That's just what I would do on like Saturday afternoons. Or at the end of the week, if I didn't have homework, I would just make wax I would cut like a soda can in half, dump like butter and candle wax and some to give it a smell. Like, I really don't remember what all went into it. I don't know if I even had to go to the stores to buy any of it. It's so stupid now that I think of it. It was probably like crayons, honestly. I guarantee we were melting crayons to make skate wax, to put on the curbs and rails and all that. We used to get our parents to drive us to the skate park for like an hour. They did not want to be there, but they didn't want us to be alone because it's a skate park and we're a bunch of impressionable children with our goofy little helmets on. I remember if you brought a ripstick to the skate park, you were so lame. I remember barely even being able to ollie downstairs. I never ollied the 6-stair. I jumped a 4-stair. I think that's the best I could do is 3 or 4. I might have done a 5 at one point, but dude, I was just always afraid to break something. I love the feeling of rolling, but whenever you are in the air, it's like, oh shit. Like, I remember skateboarding or snowboarding for some of my first few times. Okay, I'm gonna let this Audi driver just do their thing. Slingshot around me, please. Sorry, I just don't want to deal with all these potholes that I'm seeing on the right lane, so I'm just kind of chilling in the left. You go ahead, sir. by all means, Mr. Audi QCell. That's a nice car. I would totally drive one of those. Would I own it? Maybe. Would you own it or would you rent it? That could be something I do, especially when I'm driving. That's a great way to pass the time and think about it. I would own one of those. I think it'd be a really good family car. Maybe not the Q7, but an Audi Q series, like maybe with the 3 rows. That would be a really great family car, you know, if I were wealthy AF. I would totally drive an Audi Q7. I would own one, be a great family car, transport the fam around, maybe like a 4-person family. Nuclear family, is that what they call that? 2 parents, 2 kids, something along them lines. Oh, we're going in that Pulaski, that curve part. Yeah, I'm glad I stayed in this left lane, bro. F*** all those holes in the right lane. Also, there's some of the leaves are starting to come back on these trees. Like, we're in the winter time, but it is winter in the south. I don't know. It's a pretty drive today, though, with this blue sky and the no clouds. Yeah, I really like that part of 65 when you're driving into Tennessee. I don't really remember much of what's north of here, but I haven't been to Louisville in a while. I've never really just gone to hang out. Maybe I'll go see a concert. I should. I could. I would if it meant that I had somewhere to stay. Like, I know of at least one person there, but I don't know if I know him well enough to say, hey, man, this band's playing in Louisville, and I think it'd be more comfortable for me to just get a hotel, unless I was closer with this fella. But who knows, man? I'm not going to drop his name or anything, because I doubt he'd ever listen to this. But he was a friend of mine that would listen in on the radio show, which was always so cool, man. This fella I'm talking about, we had, like, econ classes together. I low-key kind of helped get that man through econ. I don't know if he'd ever admit that, but I'll go ahead and set the record straight. Nah, man, I didn't mind. I don't mind helping people out. It makes me feel good to know that my knowledge can be shared. Because, like, why do all this work and then only do it for you? I don't have that kind of pride that I don't want to share it. Unless you're a bum and you're just using all my work in school just because you're lazy as hell, then like, I ain't with that. But if it's someone who, like, they do their stuff pretty consistently, but they got life happens. I don't mind sharing my work sometimes. And I knew a handful of people that hated sharing their work, like never wanted to share their work. They'd study with you because they wanted you to really get better, but they had to make sure that you did it. And that's a respectable thing, but damn, there's a little bit of dislike about those people, man. I mean, there's respectable things, and then there's a little bit like, damn, I don't want to use any derogatory word to describe, because there's a very, very specific person I'm thinking of that would never just hand out their homework. Like, no matter what. Like, bro, my grandma died last week. That never happened to me. At this point in my life, my grandmas are alive. But I'm just using this as a hypothetical. Like, man, like, I just really need it. But they just wouldn't. They're like, well, you should have made the time. What the f*** do you mean we're 12? I've never had to deal with a dead family member before. And you won't share me the long division homework from the weekend. I tell you what, man, I got fairly lucky with my math teachers in high school. I had this dude freshman year, seriously one of the greatest teachers I ever had. I'm still friends with him on, like, Facebook and all that stuff now. That dude was valid. That dude is cool. I'd record this podcast with him if he wanted to, man. I know he's got some good stories to tell. Talk about another great observer of the human experience. Sophomore year, that teacher, she wasn't bad. She's doing well now. Whether she's teaching math still, I have zero idea. Now let's go to junior year. Now that's another favorite. I'm so happy for how this lady's life has developed since I had her as a teacher. Because this lady, like, moved, I think, to Colorado or something and got married, and I think has, like, a kid or two now, like a house. I don't know, just when someone teaches you how to do something that makes your life easier later on, like, the stuff that this teacher taught me in, like, Algebra 2 helped me in pre-cal and algebra stuff in college. So I'm just thankful for that. Damn, that truck got up. There was just a busted up truck on the side of the road. Holy, my word. There it is. My word. Why say holy blank when you can say my word? Yeah, no, that just sounds corny and stupid, and I don't know, but that truck got messed up. But I'm just happy that teacher's doing well, you know. Senior year, did I even take math in my senior? Oh my God, I did take math senior year. One of my best buddies who I just recorded the show with was in my math class, my boy Reagan. Oh, what was that dude's name? He didn't give a shit. He was awesome. I was like, what's happening, coach? He was a coach of something, and I just walk in from lunch like, what's happening, sir? What's going on? He was always valid. He was cool. So I guess, I can say I do have respect for my Catholic private school education. I'm happy with these teachers specifically. Math, I did great. Well, I didn't do great in math. I did okay. I didn't excel because I'm not, the brightest human being in the world, but we're all very positive of that, because that seems to be a common trend with this little captain's log thing now, is that I started talking about math. I had great math teachers. I was talking about doing math in my head, trying to figure out how much I make in a year. I already know how much it is, but I'm just trying to do the backwards math. I don't know, it's a fun little exercise to keep my hamster wheel turning, but that hamster wheel needs a little bit more grease right now. I had good math teachers in high school. Let's see about history. History, freshman year, I'm sorry, teacher. You'll probably never listen to this. You'll probably never even know I exist or anything, but I just didn't really like your class. I liked some of the material, specifically whenever we learned about the shogun and Japanese culture. I remember that stuff very clearly. That was really cool. Sophomore year, oh man, that was a great time. My sophomore year teacher, I don't want to drop his name, but dude, that was a great class, because we started in geography. And I remember my buddy Reagan, bro, I think okay, I don't think it'll matter if I put this out on the internet, but I can bleep it out. But my buddy Reagan cheated and failed on a test, and I think he might have failed the class. And I think I was in the classroom when it happened, and he goes, F***, or something. I just remember Reagan was always the one to be like, what the F***, or he would curse. He would always get in trouble for like that. I remember that happened in Mr. class. Oh, that was hilarious. That was so funny. Oh my God, that was hilarious. Yeah, so we had that dude sophomore year, and he was kind of a dumb, but he was fun. He was cool. He was respectable. Cared a lot about his job, man. And I got really good at geography that year. I knew a ton about maps in the world. Geography, and then what do we have second semester? Was that the beginning of American? I feel like that's when we got into American history. Junior year, I feel like, is when we also learned American history. With that teacher that blocked me on Twitter, bro, that's so funny. I feel like he and I would actually get along way better now, because I think he was in his 20s or 30s. I really think he and I would get along way better now that I'm an adult. He might hate me even more for who I am, which I can understand that. But I think he and I would actually have a really funny conversation if I ever saw him. I'd probably take him more serious, because he had a funny name. He had a hilarious last name. There are buses named after this guy's last name. I don't think he's in that family at all, but he had this extra credit opportunity in his class, where if you took a picture, if you just saw one of his last name bus, I don't know what the official word would be in a grammatical sense with that, whatever. But if you saw a bus that had that guy's last name on it, you took a picture of it, you would get extra credit on the final exam. And I remember I found one in New Orleans. I was like, holy shit, this has to happen. So I got my picture, got my extra credit, but that dude couldn't stand me. I used to fidget all the time. I still fidget all the time. I remember I had this little yellow golf ball, and he found it and just took it and cut it in half. Dude took it and cut it in half in front of me with some scissors, and I couldn't do anything about it. That is hilarious. That is so funny. At the time, I was really disrespected. I was like, are you me? I think I was actually upset in that moment. But looking back on it 6 years ago, that's hilarious. That dude really put me in my place, and I needed it. I needed to get on a little bit by an adult. So good on you, coach. Good on you, man. And then the next year, I had literally one of the greatest teachers, the most overqualified teacher I've ever had in high school. Dude helped me through economics. We learned about economics and law. And that, I don't know, since we had such a good teacher, it was just great. I had a good class. His classroom was set up differently too. This dude, though, this other teacher, he had his whiteboard and projection screen, all that stuff. Smartboard. I don't remember what it was, what they used, but all the classrooms had that. But he set us up he would stand in the middle, and we were all at tables, not nice tables. They weren't bad tables, but we would just he would be in the middle, and we would kind of be spread out all around him. He would occasionally move us around. I think That would be so cool. If you could move people around and like be a high school teacher and move kids around. If I could teach public speaking to high schoolers too. I'm not even the world's greatest public speaker, but I feel like I could inspire some of the leaders of tomorrow, I guess. Oh my gosh. Why do I want to be a teacher so bad? I really don't want it that bad because I know how much legwork and extra work it would be. But I want to teach public speaking because I think it's just what I'm best at. Because you can use a book. The exam would be on the book because it has to be. But I wish I could teach a class that didn't have a final exam. It was all about speeches and giving speeches. Because I would totally have favorite students. We would always have lackluster students. There's always people that are flat out bad at it. But I think a very important part, this is an opinion of a 23-year-old with a bachelor's degree, so don't take it too seriously. I think public speaking is a very important part of the human experience and living life. I think you have to force yourself out of your comfort zone. It is so important to force yourself out of it. And some people will find out that they are really good at it. I feel like there are kids that play a lot of video games that call out. They are the natural leader of their team in video games. The Call of Duty kids specifically, and other strategy style team other multiplayer strategy style team games, where the kid that's the leader could honestly be such a great public speaker, but they've just never done it before because it's always been at a mic like that. I don't know. I just would love to see how kids would take that on. Not kids, students. Or high school kids. I don't know. I might be onto something. But that's only if I ever go get my master's. That's going to have to be a 2-for-1 special right there. Teaching at a high school. Can you freaking imagine? I wonder how you even get, like, the okay to do that. I feel like they never had really any public speaking stuff in any high schools or anything like that. Why do I care so much about this? What the hell? I was talking about high school teachers and good teachers, and I guess I just want to do what they did for me. Yeah, I guess that is why. Because we had a dude, we'll just call him Mr. T. Coach B, Coach H. You know, I had a teacher that taught me how to use Photoshop, and I'm really glad that I know how to use Photoshop, but she was rude. I don't want to just come out and call her what I want to call her because I'm trying to be in a better mood today, and I know if I feed into it, it's only going to make me angrier. She taught me some valuable things, but she also put me in like my first detention in high school for like no reason, just because she could. She is what you call a bastard leader that abuses power. I don't know what else she did. She coached something. I think I always called her Miss, though. I never wanted to call her Coach. I didn't have that level of respect. I don't think I ever will, honestly. There were some other teachers I had, some literature teachers, my word. I had some great lit teachers that I got along with really well. Now that I think about it, there was only one that I kind of didn't get along with super well. And dude, I think she just passed away, which is sad. But you know, she left her classroom was the one that you had to go to for detention. I'm not dropping names, but I think that's probably why we never got along super well, because I was in detention a good bit in high school. And she just had that impression of me as a kid that liked to go to detention or get in trouble like that. Which kind of sucks. But, you know, I did kind of do it to myself and get in trouble and things like that. But I think every other teacher I had for literature, English, whatever, I think I really did like all of them. The teacher that taught us about Beowulf was great. Some of the Shakespeare stuff. My freshman year English teacher, now that was a great time. I feel like she would be someone who would listen to this at one point. Just because, like, oh, this student has a podcast now. I kind of want to check that out. And especially if I title something like this, remember when high school, because the thing that sparked me thinking about high school all day was my 6 years ago, 2 days ago, was me and Reagan cooking a Cookie Crisp on a 9-iron in the parking lot before school at like 7:30 in the morning. Reagan had a lighter and was just lighting Cookie Crisps on fire. What the hell, man? Just so dumb, but it's such a great core memory now from high school, all the bullshit we did in the parking lots. But you know, I had some great literature teachers. That would be really cool though if that teacher listened to this, or any of these teachers that I'm talking about that I had mad respect for. Like my psychology and sociology teacher were both great. Like, so great, man. Those were classes, like I keep talking about the human experience. They were great encouragers of thought, you know? And not just teach, here's this. They were like, now think about this. Like, how does this make you think? Maybe that wasn't even their objective the whole time, but that's kind of what it did for me. It made me think more and appreciate more, I guess you could say. I don't know. Shout out to the teachers. Science. I feel like that's where I really struggled. Well, freshman year, I had like one of the track coaches as my physics teacher, and I did all right. I did pretty good in physics because it was just math, and I was okay at math. Sophomore year, I think it was chemistry, and oh my God, I sucked at chemistry. I just didn't care. Like the classes I weren't great in, English because of all the reading, and science because I just didn't care that much about science. I liked having faith and art and stuff like that. Science just wasn't really my thing. Like all the precision and stuff like that, just not, I don't know. It just never clicked with me the same way artistic stuff did, like English. I'm saying that, and then I'm saying I never even read books, which is so true. I should have read more books. I really wish I did, but it's too late now. Well, not too late. I can still read some of those books. I can go back and read it, like Beowulf in not Madagascar. Oh, Shakespeare. Where the hell did that come from? Henry David Thoreau. That's such a beautiful name, Thoreau. Or like Walden Pond, the place that those dudes used to go, right? I don't know. There's some kind of warm aesthetic about that I like. You can take that statement however you want it. And I said it, so who cares? But I had an appreciation for English. Spanish, too. I think I did really well in Spanish 1. Spanish 2 I struggled in, but dude, Spanish was just an awesome class. My teacher, I really do wonder about him, what he's up to now. He was a great teacher for that. In my extracurriculars, Spanish. Yeah, I enjoyed Spanish. Let me go back to science, though. Physics I did all right in. Chemistry I did not do great in, but my teacher was great. I think she was like a family friend or something. I don't know. Great teacher, great person. Junior year, what science did... Oh my God, I remember what it was. It was biology. I had an awesome bio teacher. I'm friends with her on Facebook. She lives in Florida now. Yeah, dude, that was another incredible teacher. So I had good teachers in math, science, English, history. Damn, dude, the 4 big ones. Religion, too, I guess you could say. I'm trying to think of any ones that just sucked. I know, we had like a golf coach. I don't know if he was ever my math coach or my math teacher, though. My golf coach, what a hard ass, bro. He was funny, though. He'd make your ass go run a lap on the golf course, bro. He's a football coach making kids do laps. That was hilarious. Yeah, shout out to that guy, too. Never thought I'd be this thankful, but, you know, my parents are going to love this one. If they ever listen to this, they're going to love hearing me talk about good high school experiences I had. I'm about to just make this entire thing an episode. Like, I've done 2 of these. I've literally, in this drive alone, on this 6-7 hour experience of a drive, I've talked for an hour and 40 minutes so far. I'm 40 miles. Damn, I've been going for 40 miles into Tennessee since I've been doing this. Because remember I talked about them deer? So science, I had a great junior year teacher. And biology, I just didn't like dissecting. I still don't like it. It makes me feel gross. Senior year, that was a great dude. I don't think he was made to teach marine biology. I'm still salty about that field trip, bro. Still salty about that field trip. It's whatever. But I didn't get to go on a field trip. Long story short, I'm going to say it's my fault because a little bit of it was, but also the dude who didn't let me go on the field trip really just did me dirty. So, him. You know what? He can that guy really was just a hard ass for no reason. And he's probably, if he ever listens to this, like, he'll probably immediately turn it off, and I just lost him as a fan. But you know what, bro? You were a dick about it for no reason. We had, like, some disciplinarians in our school. We had one dude who was an ex-baseball player who's great. Mad respect for this guy. And if he's also listening to this, and he heard me just say that about his friend that didn't let me go on that field trip, this dude that I'm talking about, not the baseball coach, but the guy that didn't let me on the field trip, the hard ass about vending machines. I'll say that. He was the biggest hard ass about vending machines. Now, other disciplinarian coach, I'm talking to you now. You're probably never even going to listen to this, but if you do, this will be hilarious. I have mad respect for you. You put me in my place time and time again because I was a dumb fool a lot in high school, and I'm not afraid to admit it. And man, you had a tough job. You really did have a tough job, but I think you're still doing it. I'm almost positive you're still doing it. So go you, man. You don't have an easy job, and you had to deal with my buffoonery and my bullshit. So thank you. And thank you for protecting me from making it even worse at home with my parents, because you could have definitely made it even worse. But you were somewhat easy on me, so thanks, man. I appreciate it. You being a good adult to me made me want to be a good adult to kids that are in high school now, I guess. That makes sense. And then we have the other coach, the court jester. He might think that's a little disrespectful, but it's because I liked him. The vending machine guy, though, his daughter and I think we're cool. Big time Auburn fans. I'm not going to go any further than that because I really shouldn't share too much information, like personal information. For people that have like no idea who I am, none of my history, things like that, like none of this will make sense. But to people back home that know what I'm talking about, they would definitely know who I'm talking about. Which is why I'm avoiding names. But I'm just kind of doing a full review of high school. We had a pretty good principal. I didn't think she was super effective, but like, how effective can a principal be? Yeah, I mean, how effective is a principal supposed to be? I don't really know the answer to that at all. But she was sweet to me. I mean, my dad went to that high school too, so I guess I was like a legacy or whatever. That's such a white privilege thing for me to say, and I'm just talking about it because it happened. Like, I would be ignorant if I said that I didn't have it, you know? So I'll say, yeah, I had it there, for sure. But at least I wasn't a piece of shit, like abused it all the time. I definitely got out of some trouble because of it, because like my dad went there. And it's like, what do you want me to do? Feel like a piece of shit about it? I kind of do, because it wasn't fair to other people, but like, it's dead and gone in the past now. There's nothing I can do to go back and change that. I kind of got off, not scot-free, but I got off easier than other people in situations where I was definitely in the wrong. I basically did the whole, like, I was in a bad crowd thing. I just saw that Audi Q7 again that I was talking about earlier. Same exact one. Let's see who else I can talk about from my high school. I feel like I've covered a lot of it. I mean, I made a bunch of good friends. Of course, the one that I talk about the most is one of my best friends, my fella buddy, my buddy Regan, my brother. I got to see some friends of mine that I went to high school with last night, actually, at that Mardi Gras ball. I'm really glad I got to see them. I tried not to preach to them at all, because one of them's already, they're kind of all done with their first bits of school, but they're all either back in it already or gonna go back. And I try not to preach because I got like the liberal art degree, but I was like, y'all, just before you have to start working full time, because I think some of them I didn't really understand. I hadn't seen them in so long. I hadn't seen them in like a year or more, so I didn't truly know what they're doing nowadays, because I don't keep up. But like, I was like, please just take a cool vacation. Do it for you. Do it for me. And I mean, they don't need to listen to me at all. I would love for someone to get to experience some really cool vacations before they have to just run themselves down in life. I don't really want to get into all that, though. I like talking about high school because I really did have a good experience. I wish I could have done 2 high schools, but I did have great teachers senior year. So, like, it's probably good that I didn't transfer. Makes this exact recollection. If I would have switched high schools, this exact recollection, a lot of it would have never existed. So I think I will be posting this whole thing. There's going to be a little bit of editing in here, but I think there's been a good bit of monologue and conversation here. I'm going to have to do something about the audio because I've just been talking on my phone. It's not like the greatest microphone. It's been super windy out today, but this one will be a little bit shorter. And I think that's really all you need, is a little bit of a shorter one. So I'm pretty much done talking about high school. Like, we had that nice cafeteria. I did play golf. I could talk about that, actually. You know, I will talk about it because golf is one of my favorite things in the world. In freshman year of high school, I had no direction. I didn't know what I was doing there. I was 14 and 15. What am I supposed to know? Going into the summer of sophomore year, I start hanging around with the wrong crowd. It's because I all have too much free time. The reason why I started playing golf is because I had too much free time. My parents were like, you need to find something to do so you're not doing a bunch of stupid shit. So I made some bad decisions sophomore year. Junior year, I cleared it up and I played golf, and I enjoyed golf. I enjoyed the PE that I got to take with golf because it meant that I got to weightlift with a dude who knew what the hell he was doing. Shout out to that guy, man. That's one of the strongest people I know, like literally. Thank you to that guy, man. So I start playing golf in JV at like 16, and I'm like the oldest person on JV. And then I'm playing in practices and tournaments, and just everyone's cheating like the whole time. So I'm like, you know what? F this. So I just got a job at a golf course junior year because I got fired from my job in high school sophomore year. I got a job. Okay, so I can tell this. because I said I was making bad decisions sophomore year, I tried to skip school on senior skip day thinking, oh, bro, we'll be fine. Me and this dude that was kind of a bad influence on me. But, you know, I was an impressionable 15, 16-year-old. We decided to skip school, attempt to skip school. And I didn't really know Mobile geography all too well at the time. So we like drive to school. I'd like pick him up like down the street, whatever. And then we like call in the school posing to be my parents. I say he called, which is kind of part of why I got off in this, but he called in, and then I think my parents had like me on like find my friends or whatever, something like that. I feel like we skipped school like once or twice, man. I don't really remember all the stories behind this. I remember we went to go visit a friend of ours at another high school. I think this is during like spring break or something like that. I don't remember the full story behind that, but I remember we attempted to skip school, and then I got a call from my dad like, hey, I just heard that you're not at school today. Get your ass there. And because I didn't know the whole geography of that area, we were in like a rough neighborhood. And I'm like in the middle of changing clothes when I get that call. So I start freaking out, man. I am freaking out in this situation. So I'm like, okay, I'm just going to put my uniform back on, and then we're going to go back to school. I'm going to school because I'm freaking out, man. I'm skipping school for the first time ever, and of course it goes wrong. And then it's only about to get worse. I'm at an intersection in Crichton, Mobile, where the Leprechaun was. And then there's a car coming from the left. Apparently there's a car coming from the right. And then as the car coming from the left passes, I didn't see the car from the right because I'm freaking out. And then I pull out, and boom, my first car accident at 16 years old. Like 3 months after I get my car. So whenever I first turned 16, I didn't even get to drive because I got myself in trouble for making bad decisions. I got like grounded for my car. And then 3 months later, I finally get my car and like, bro, let's skip school, bro. Totally, it's going to be sick. And then I get in a car accident. It's funny. It's embarrassing. And I'm talking about it because I feel like it. But that's just like, of course. So this is sophomore year. I said I was going to talk about me playing golf. God, look at the transition. Look at the twists and turns. So this is what happens whenever you give your son too much free time. Make your kids eat vegetables and play a sport, or make them do something extracurricular so they don't end up like I did. So yeah, I get in a wreck. My car is donezo for like 3 months. I finally get my car back in like the middle of the summer. So I got a job to pay off my car. This is how I get my first job, working for my buddy's dad at the gas station. So there's that whole story. And I mean, the gas station wasn't a great time, but it was a good learning experience. Very much so a cultural experience. I 100% deserved to work there. I needed to do it. So yeah, I get in a car accident the first time I ever try and skip school. And pretty much after that, I like never saw that kid again. I pretty much was like, you know what? I'm going to have to cut this dude out of my life. I would see him in like junior and senior year, and we just always had beef. So we were always like ready to just like fight. Like it was always like drop of a hat, like I'm ready to fight, which is so stupid, man. We never even did fight. We probably shoved each other once or twice, but man, it's so stupid. It's whatever, dude. I doubt that guy will ever listen, but man, I'm sorry that all that happened between us, man. It's so stupid looking back on it like 6-7 years later. It's so funny, but so stupid and kind of embarrassing. But I'm gonna take a sip from my soda now, because I haven't done that in a while. That guy's probably never even gonna listen to this, but if he does, just know. So that's sophomore year, and now let's get into junior year, when I actually got like a real deal girlfriend, I guess you could say. So I had like girlfriend, I'm playing golf, I'm working out, I'm chilling. We'd go on the coolest field trip ever to Williamsburg, Virginia. So sick. I would totally take my own kids there if I had children. And then I play golf. Everyone's cheating. And then since I had gotten fired from that job at the convenience store, I'll tell that story another time. That story's already out there on the internet on the Live with DJP show. Like my first summer job. Summer 16. I don't know, that's probably the name of that one. It's deep in Facebook from 2020. But so I needed a job. I was kind of a bum at the beginning of my summer after junior year going into senior year. Like I had a girlfriend, I played golf and little tours here and there, but I didn't have a job. I was kind of bumming, I was broke. And then my parents like, you need to go get a job, because they didn't want to give him my job at the convenience store, because they're like, nah, you can't work here anymore after your bull behavior, which it was. I was being a menace, but I was like, you know what? I'm determined to get a job. My brother used to work at a golf course, but he had a bad experience with it, so I figured it would be bad for me. Little did I realize that would be the best idea ever for me to work at a golf course. So I put on my FootJoy golf pants, tuck in my shirt, wear the hat, the whole thing. I was like, hey man, I need a job, dude. I'm willing to work hard. I'm doing like summer reading, and that's about it because we don't have summer classes. And this is a bald fella. Mad respect for this fella too, man. He gave me that job at the Rock Creek Golf Course, and that was one of the best. That was a little family in itself, bro. It really was. Rock Creek, man, y'all treated me very well for 3 different summers. When I was 17, when I was 19. Maybe it was just 2 summers. I feel like it was 3. I feel like I worked there like junior year going into and parts of senior year, and then I quit and worked at Wacky Shrimp. And then I went back in 2019. Yeah. Damn, dude. I'm getting like really deep into all these memories today. This is I forget about that a lot of this stuff exists. But yeah, golf has just always been such an important part of my life, for real. Like working at that golf course, getting to play a little bit here and there, making one of my like favorite, most respected friends, my country boy friend he's off the interstate, Alabama. He knows who he is, man. I've recorded my show with him a couple times. My buddy Seth, man. Shout out to you, brother. Whether you're ever going to listen to this or not, man, just know, mad respect. We going to get after it. If by the time I post this, if we haven't already had our conversation, man, we will. It's coming, the first of many. Because you know how to talk on the mic, bro. You are a observer. You are a dedicated listener to Mr. Joe Rogan himself. So we'll get after it soon, man, I promise. I'm kind of jumping really far ahead in where I was with the whole golf thing. Because, yeah, I worked at that golf course, and there's just so many stories I could tell about it. I met another one of my best friends, literally one of the dudes I lived with in 2019. How could I just glaze over it? I guess I can, because we've had so many more experiences since then. One of the other dudes, a couple of the guys that I met at that golf course that I'm still cool with. It's just so much has happened, man, in all these years. And just talking about it, I didn't really expect this type of memory lane thing to go on this afternoon, but I think it'll be really good content. I think I am going to go ahead and cut it off, though, because I've pretty much captured most of high school. There is stuff in there that I haven't touched on that I can go back on, like Williamsburg. I can tell more stories about. I can get even more into golf, especially with my buddy Sam, because he and I played golf together in high school at different high schools. There's a lot more that you can look forward to, listener. If there literally is even anyone out there listening to this, of me talking to myself in my car, driving 65 north. I'm actually like in Nashville now, basically. I'm 60 miles up the road. I was talking while I was still in Alabama, passing that rocket ship, but here we go, man. 2 hours in the car of just yammering, music, podcasts. Well, it's really been a whole day excursion. I left at like 10:30 this morning. It's like 4:45 in the afternoon now. So, thanks for listening. Have a good one. I'll let you later.